hope you're ready for spring like I am, and I am excited to bring you some IOD DIYs that include some thrifted items that I wanted to thrift flip for you for springtime, and I'm excited for you to see. It's also a part of a collaboration with these lovely ladies, and I'll have the playlist down below as well as each of their channel links, so stay tuned. For my first DIY, I wanted to use this paint inlay grouping. It's so cute. There's some bunnies and roosters and a bunch of little flowers and trims that you can use. And for this DIY, I'm using the greenish color flowers for this frame that I want to redo. So let's pick one out and I'll get to that and show you what it looks like. So this had some wording on this frame and I sanded it off, and now I've had some paint that actually matched it perfect that I'm just touching it up with. So after that dried, I wanted it to match the rest of the frame that was a little distressed, so I just kind of sanded it down to make it match. So now I've cut out the piece that I want to use on the one corner. I'm using Mod Podge for this. You can use fresh paint, but it was already painted and I didn't want to paint everywhere, so I waited for it to dry really well, and now I'm just going to put some Mod Podge on the corner of where I want this to go. So now you want to put the grid side up and the actual ink part down onto the wet part and press it down really well. So now you want to get a spritz water bottle and just spray the back of it and then dab it. I'm going kind of quick here, but you want to dab it gently and then let it dry. I pulled it off too soon, so don't do what I'm doing here. You're supposed to let it dry for completely and then spritz it again, wait 30 seconds after dabbing it, and then pull it off. You'll have much better results that way, and the ink will stick to it really well. So here you can tell it was really dry, and then I spritzed it again and dabbed it, and then I was supposed to wait, but I didn't, and I'm just pulling it off here. But it is better to let it sit for at least 30 seconds before you start pulling it off. This worked, like I said, but it just has better results if you do it that way. So now I have the corner piece. I just did a little piece that I thought would look cute there, and I'm doing the same exact steps. So there are different mediums that you can use to protect your project. I use Mod Podge because I have it on hand and it is inexpensive, but IOD does have some different types of protectant, sealant type things that you can purchase as well. But you just want to make sure you cover the whole thing so it's consistent with the type of sheen that you want, whether it's matte or more of a shine to it. But this one I think is a medium shine, or satin, sorry. And so you just want to make sure that it's covered. What was strange is this frame has a plastic cover instead of glass, which I didn't realize until I took it apart. But I had this dried flower that I thought would look pretty in it, but I ended up using a different flower with a different background paper that I had created. So you'll see here in a minute. So I thought it would be cute to use one of these Dollar Tree palette things, the little mini ones, to put a picture of a rooster on it from the paint inlays. And so I'm just going to give it 2 good coats of this white Rust-Oleum chalk paint. So I saved the top part to paint the second coat on last because I'm going to use the inlay on the paint while it's wet. So I've cut out the rooster picture there that you can see on the right, and I'm going to be placing that on the wet paint here in just a moment. So I even used a ruler here to kind of gauge it so that it would be in the middle, and I still think I got it off center, but it still turned out pretty cute. And it doesn't have all the words, but it still looks rustic and country style, so I'm pretty proud of it. It just takes a little pressure here to put the inlay on. And now we're going to use the water spritzer to spritz over the top of it and dab it. And again, this is where you want to dab it and then let it dry completely, and then come back and spritz it again and let it sit for 30 seconds and do it again. So then you want to peel it really carefully and make sure that it's adhered to your project and it's complete. So now I'm taking my distressing ink and just going over each of the little areas around it to make it match the picture and look more distressed. Next up, I have these 3 mini, and they're not the standard size terracotta pots. I found these at the thrift store. I think I paid 50 cents a piece for them, and they are taller and just really super cute. They did have candles in them, and I took that out, and I'm just painting them with the Rust-Oleum white linen chalk paint again. So I saved what we'll call the front part of the pot for the last part of the second coat so that I could have fresh paint to put another inlay on this, and it's a bunny picture. So again, we're going to do it the same way as the others, only this time I'm spritzing the back grid of it and then placing it on the wet paint and trying to get it as straight as I can, and then pressing down, and I just used my towel to make sure it was flat, and spritz it again and let it dry completely. So here it is completely dry, and I'm just giving it a fresh spritz of water and dabbing it again, and then you wait for 30 seconds and then pull it off. So now we're just going to pull it off here, and you want to be gentle with it and be careful and just go slow and make sure the ink is on there. If it's not showing the ink after you've done all that, push it back down and spritz it again or dab it and let it dry again. But look how cute that is. It turned out so adorable. I love how these turned out. I'm not going to show you how I did every one of them, but I will show you how they turned out here in a moment. So here I wanted to kind of rough it up to make it look kind of outdoorsy, rustic, and so I'm just taking some sandpaper and giving it a little bit of distressing all the way around. And look how cute it turned out. Here's the cute little lamb one. It turned out just as cute. And here's the chickie. I hope you guys can see the pictures because they turned out really cute. So this next DIY, I found this at the thrift store for $1.50, and to me it looked like it was printed upside down, like it shouldn't have been printed on it that way. So I wanted to change it up. So I'm going to sand off all of the wording, and then we're going to flip it around and make it different using another paint inlay. So now that that wording is off, I'm leaving it all the same except for that center portion because I like how it looks distressed the way it is, and I just want that center part painted so that I can put the inlay on it. Okay, so I cut down the inlay that I wanted, and it has these cute birds and flowers and tree kind of looking with kind of a coral color, and I'm spraying the back. You can't see, I'm sorry, but I sprayed the back on the grid side, and then I'm putting it down on wet paint. Now it doesn't look like it's the right side, but it is, and I'm just putting it in there to make, you have to be really careful not to let it sit too long and move it, because it's not going anywhere. It's going to mess it up. So you just want to make sure it's straight, and then just press down gently, and then once you have it down where you want, then just use the towel again and dab the wetness off of it. So then again, after you've dabbed that first part so that it's pressing into the paint, you want to spritz it and then dab it again, and then let it fully dry. I was just checking it here to see how it's looking, and I was messing it up, so you have to make sure, don't lift it. You want it to dry. So again, now that it's dry, I just wet the towel and dabbed it on. You could spritz it again completely and do it that way as well, but then you let it dry for sit for 30 seconds. Now the big reveal. So you just want to pull it back really slow and make sure that your print looks exactly how it's supposed to. And for me, I like it to be kind of I guess distressed, so if it's not perfect, I'm fine with that, because it makes it even look like it has more character and that it's older, and that's what I love. And so with this, you can set it on a shelf next to some other spring decor. You can even put a hole in the back and hang it on the wall. It can be put anywhere. And look how beautiful it's turning out. I love how this turned out. And you'll see up next how I designed it. For this DIY, I'm going to use the IOD mold that they just came out for spring. It is so beautiful. You can use this for so many different things. So I'm just putting some baking soda into the smaller, skinnier one, and just making sure that it's covered all the way through, and then I'm going to dump out the excess. So then I'm just going to take this air dry clay, it's DIYS, and just spread it through with my thumbs, and then making the top part of it really smooth so that when it goes onto a surface, it lays flat. You don't want it to, have bubbles or be bulgy, so you want it to go all the way through and smooth it out really well. So to make it real smooth, I use water to kind of soften it up, and then it makes it easier to work with. You don't want to use too much, obviously, but you just want to make it easier to smooth out. And also IOD has their own air dry clay that you can use, and I'm sure it's wonderful. I'm super cheap, so I got this on Amazon, and I can have the link down below for you. So once you have it smoothed to the point that you are happy with it and satisfied, you want to gently bend the silicone mold back and pull away from the clay. And it shouldn't stick if you did the baking soda properly, and just gently remove it, and you don't want to put pressure on it because it takes away from the design. And I love this mold. It turns out so pretty, and they have, see on the end there where you can connect another one to it, so I'm excited to use this one. And I made 2 of these. So now they're still wet, and I have the 2 ready to go, and I found this Dollar Tree box without the lid in my stash, and so I thought that fits perfect. It's like the perfect size to go all the way around the box. So I'm going to use some Gorilla wood glue that I've already put into the little bowl there, and I'm just going to give a healthy amount of this glue on the back side of the clay. And you can also put it on the wood itself, but I thought it would be easier to put it on the clay and then lay it down. And again, you want to be very gentle and not push too hard, because your image on the outside of it that you want it to be pretty may squish, and so you want to be very gentle with it. And so even pushing down, you kind of just want to be soft with it, but enough pressure that it adheres to the wood. So I'm just going to glue all the way around, and then I will show you how it lines up with the other one that I've done as well. So here is where you want to be still careful, but see how it lines up. And in retrospect, I think I just lined it up so it touched, and there was some gap, and luckily when I did paint it, it ends up hiding it. But when you go to glue this together, you want to glue the side of the clay and really kind of put pressure into it, because when it dries it separates. So you want it up on it a little bit more than what I did, but it's so easy to do, and it turns out really super cute. So then on the corner, I'm going to cut it straight across, and it was super easy, so that because it's too long to connect to the other side, as you can see here. So then I just connected that side and cut it down straight up against the wood, and see how it just blended in really well there. I just love it. It's so easy and fun to make. You can do this with shelves, you could do it with anything. It was just really a neat process. So I ended up letting this cure for about 3 days because I just couldn't get to it soon enough, but you can see where it's separated, and you can let it sit for at least 24 hours before doing anything more with it. But I thought it would be cute to put little feet, leg type things on the bottom of the box. And I'm just hot gluing for the purpose of getting this done quickly. Normally I would use my Gorilla wood glue to glue it so it's permanent, but I'm kind of pressed for time to get this video done. So I'm just hot gluing these large beads on the bottom of each corner, and then we'll give it a good couple of coats of paint. So for the mold part, you want to use like a thicker brush, like this chalk paint brush, to get into all the little crevices, because once it dries, you'll see the little kind of like bubbles that are empty, And so you want to really get into each of the little grooves really well, even if you're like brushing it in circles, just to get it so that it's all the way through. And because I didn't want the large streaks that the larger brush would give, I'm using my smoother brush for the inside and the bottom of the box, just so that it looks nicer. So with the extra piece that I had left over, I kind of played with it to see what color I wanted to do this, and I'm going with the darker side. Comment and let me know which one you would choose. After it was all said and done, I think I probably should have painted it black if I wanted it darker, because it turned out more gray, but it's still really pretty. So I'm using the black wax from, I think it's Jolene's wax, and I'm getting in as deep as I can to all the little crevices, and gonna wipe back, of course, because it's wax. You can wipe it off and it gives you a lighter color. So I'm just trying to get as much as I can into those crevices. And then as I'm wiping, I'm making sure to get the legs or feet of the box, and then I'll do the bottom as well. As you can see here, I'm trying to get it on the bottom so it's cohesive with the legs, so it looks, you know, the same as them. So now I'm going to use some white wax from Jolene as well, and trying to get the raised part to be the brighter white color. So I'm just doing it lightly at first, but then I start to do quite a bit, and then as much as you can rub off, it makes it more white and bright looking. So now I have my Mod Podge that I'm going to cover the whole thing inside and outside, as well as the bottom with, so that it helps protect that paint and the wax and everything. So I'm giving it just all one good coat. So here it is, all complete. Let me know what you think. I'm so happy that you joined me for this video and that you've made it this far. If you're new here from the playlist, make sure to subscribe and like and comment. And if you haven't yet, check out that collaboration link that's down below and watch all of these lovely ladies' videos and give them some love. And I am so grateful for everybody, and I am happy that I was able to get this video finally completed. And I just want to wish everyone a wonderful day.